Welcome to Basic Guitar. We're gonna start with the most basic thing, and that's what are these strings on this guitar. That's the E string. You gotta make sure it's tuned, so get a tuner and then pluck the string and then see what the tuner tells you the note is. You want it to say E, you don't want it to say E flat. So right now it's not saying E, it's saying, I think it's saying E flat, but it's a little sharp on E flat. So that means I need to tune it up a little bit. So I'm going to come over here and tune up. I'm going to turn this little knob right here and try to get the note a tiny bit higher. And as I do that, the tuning moved from the E flat up to the E, and it's still not quite where it should have been. So it was hitting, before it was hitting an E flat, but it was a sharp E flat. Now it's a flat E. So you want this to say E, and you don't want those red lights. You want just the green light in the middle. So when you see a little bit of red, it's either a little too flat or a little too sharp. It's a little too sharp. Sometimes when people tune, they tune a little bit sharp on purpose because when you play, you're stretching out the string and it naturally gets flatter as you do that. Okay, so the first string, the big fat one, the lowest note is the E. So we just tuned the E. The next one is the A. So get your tuner. What's it doing? Mine, when I hit the A string, I'm thinking it's going to be the same thing it was on the E. I haven't tuned this in a little bit. Yeah, it's coming out a little flat. So let's tune it up a tiny bit. Try to get it all the way into the green. Try to get it into the sweet spot. Still a tiny bit flat. Okay, and that's about right. So we got E, we got A. The next string is the D string, E, A, D. And I can hear it, I don't need to use the tuner. Your ear can start to help you. It's another little trick people do if you don't have the tuner. You can hit the E string and go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go up to the 5th fret, and that sounds out an A. So if you want to tune the A string, and you don't have a tuner, you can go to the 5th fret of the E string in order to do that. The 5th fret of the E string. Let me turn so you can see that a little more clearly from your point of view if this is the first time you've ever done this. There's E, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's the A, sounded on the E string, and that should sound just like the open A string. Okay, you can do the same thing on the next string, the D string. 5 up, D. That's sounding pretty good. Let's just verify it on the tuner. Tiny bit flat. Sharpen it up a little bit. Looks pretty good. Okay. Now these little things over here, if your strings are on there, when you turn it this way, you're making the note higher. When you turn it that way, you're making the note lower. Up is sharper, down is flatter. Higher is sharper, lower is flatter. So there's the A string. If I were to turn it this way, it would go up. Turn it that way, it goes down. D string, same thing. Okay, so now we're E, A, D. Now we're to the G. To get the sound of the G, you can go on the D string to the 5th fret, and you can hear that slight difference because it's a little bit flat. So I'm going to tune it up. And you hear it changing. Now let's look at the tuner. How are we doing? Tiny bit flat still. See if we can get that staying in the green zone. pretty close. Now it's a little sharper. Okay, now here's where it gets interesting. So you're on the 5th fret going up. E, E, A, D, D. But when you get now to the G string and you want to tune the next string below, which is B, now you go down. Instead of being on the 5th fret, you go to the 4th fret. So you count up 1, 2, 3, 4. And then, while you're playing that, go to the next string and it should sound the same. And it doesn't. So that means it's a little bit flat. So I have to come over here and turn it a little bit to try to get it back where we need it. Okay, that's better. But let's check the tuner again and see if the tuner says it's right. Okay, close enough. Tuner says good enough. E, E, A, D, B. So for the B, we go back to the 5th fret. Now we're on the B string to get the sound of the E. Those are already pretty good, but let's double check on the tuner. Little flat. All right. Now you got a tuned guitar from the E to the A to the D to the G to the B to the E. E, A, D, G, B, E. Those are the 6 strings of the guitar. Say them a few times, try to help you remember it. E, A, D, G, B, E. E, A, D, G, B, E. And that's how you start off. The very first thing you do when you want to learn how to play the guitar.